Once upon a time, there was a young man who had a lot of friends. And he fucking hated the bright fucking sun. And this young man, he stepped in a puddle one day, and all of his friends, they laughed at him. They said, "You stepped in a puddle." And he said, "Yeah, well, step up, bitch." That's the end of the story. Welcome to another episode of Awkward Storytime with Patrick Fifelski. So, yesterday I was in a McDonald's taking a dump. When I walk out of the stall, I see this middle-aged woman standing by the sink. She's waiting for her, 5-year-old son. He's taking a piss. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I always thought it was pretty status quo for when, an adult and their child are different genders to take the child into the adult gender's bathroom. Does that make sense? Anyway, it's none of my fucking business. I'm just there to drop a deuce and toss him up, you know what I'm saying? Now, I go to wash my hands, and she starts helping her son wash his hands, and I'm feeling a little bit of tension in the air, so I try to crack a joke, and I say something like, I'm in the right bathroom, right? She looks at me, shrugs, and just says, "I don't know. Are you?" And I'm thinking, oh shit, maybe I offended her, maybe she's transgender or something, shit. And I don't really know how to respond, so I just walk out of the bathroom, and on my way out, I see on the door, it says ladies, in big, bold letters. Now, I used to work in a McDonald's, and in that McDonald's, the men's bathroom was on the left, so I realized that I must have just habitually walked into the left bathroom without even noticing. I look around real quick, and I see the men's bathroom is kind of hidden around a corner, so it's really understandable that I wouldn't have seen it. And that's when it hit me. That was not the first time I had used the bathroom in that McDonald's. So yesterday, a guy walks into my Sears with a $30 gift card. He finds about $30 worth of stuff, and I start ringing him up. He seems pretty cool. We're joking back and forth, talking. All of a sudden, his phone rings. He says, "I'm really sorry, guys. I gotta take this call." Now, I'm just ringing him up. I'm not eavesdropping or anything, but he's standing right there, so I can't help but overhear a lot of what he's saying. He's saying stuff like, "Just take it away, hide it, don't let her see it again. She's not my real daughter. She's not my kid. I don't know what else to tell you." And I'm starting to think, is this a real live evil stepfather standing in front of me right now? Is that what's happening? When he gets off the phone, my coworker Brenda, she's been there the whole time, and she's 16, so instead of minding her own business, she's like, "Hey, is something scandalous going on?" This guy explains that his daughter's getting really into vinyl, so he digs through his storage and finds a big box of his old records from the 80s, gives it to her as a gift. Apparently one of his old Sting records was given to him by a girlfriend he had at the time, and inside is a photo of her and her daughter from a previous marriage. So his actual daughter finds this and starts to think that he's got this second family hidden away somewhere when he hasn't talked to this woman since before he met his wife, this girl's mother. That is a tough, fucked up situation to be in for the dad or the daughter. That's really rough. Anyway, I checked the guy out, and he's got $1.50 left on his card. He thinks it's kind of a waste, and Brenda mentions that we actually sell candy at the front registers in a different part of the store. And he's like, "Candy? Really? What's its name?" And I'm like, that's a weird way to ask whether or not we have Kit Kat bars, bro. But before Brenda can answer, he looks down at her name tag and goes, Brenda. And Brenda's like, "Yep, that's my name. Smooth." The dude shoots her one of these and just walks away. Dude's 50 years old! I'm good at very few things in this world, so when I am good at something, I treasure it like nothing else. And I'm really good at making grilled cheese sandwiches. There's a lot of nuance to it. It took me years to perfect the proportions of the bread to the cheese, but one thing you gotta make sure you do, you gotta fry your ham separately from the sandwich. That is absolutely... Oh, it's ready. 1 second. Be humble. Sit down. Be humble. Fuck! Well, the blacker the berry, am I fucking right? Searching through the wilderness on a trek for discovery. Will Crisco ever require a phone signal? I got half a bar. Spider-Man, Spider-Man, does whatever a spider can. He's gonna do it. He's gonna do it. He's gonna do it. It's a superhero landing.
Welcome to Jurassic Park. That was very pitiful.
I love it when strangers start conversations with me on the bus. This one guy was trying to tell me about the first time he ever learned to drive stick shift. He was homeless at the time. He and his friend had a small business together. They would flip iPhones on Craigslist, and he would just sleep in the dude's car overnight. Now, this car was a stick shift, which was kind of a problem because the dude didn't drive stick, so he couldn't go anywhere without his friend driving him around. Anyway, all of a sudden, it's New Year's Eve, and they go out and they get fucking plastered. The dude said he'd never been so wasted in his entire life. Now, this isn't about a couple of stupid kids who decide to drink and drive. His friend goes upstairs and goes to bed, and he just goes out to sleep in the car like every other night. So he lays the seat back, he's just trying to go to sleep, and, he's chilling out. And all of a sudden, he hears a noise. So he sits up with a start, and he looks out the window, and he sees this, old, frizzy-haired, witch-looking lady. Now, he's totally freaking out, so he slams the lock on the door, but she tries to open it anyway, so he hits all the other locks on all the other doors. So she scrambles up around to the front of the car, and it's all dark up there, so he flicks the headlights on, but there is no sign of her. So he's looking around, and bam, there she is in the rear view mirror. He pulls his phone out of his pocket and he calls his friend. And he's like, dude, he's so drunk. He's like, dude, I gotta drive away. You gotta show me how to drive stick. Oh, dude, I'll show you in the morning. No, you don't understand. I've gotta go now. He sees the keys and the cup holder. He drops the phone. He fucking takes off. He is gone. He is out of there. He wakes up the next morning, 2.5 miles away, crashed headfirst into a giant tree in the middle of an enormous park. In the middle of it! So, he not only successfully navigated the neighborhood roads, but he also made it up over the curb, over the hilly grass, past the picnic tables, all dead-ass drunk? Somebody's gotta give this guy a goddamn medal, alright? So, I ask him, have you driven stick shift since? He says, people have tried to teach me ever since, over and over and over again, and I can't make it through a goddamn parking lot. I know everybody gets bullied when they're kids, and it sucks, but sometimes you get some good stories out of it. Like, there was one name I got called a lot. It was like a compliment, like a compliment and an insult. It was something about being a bull, because I was a pretty stout kid, right? So when we played football or something, I was pretty rock solid. I was a relatively strong kid. I'm trying to remember what the name was, but middle school, elementary school students, they're not very clever. So they tried to combine that name with about me liking to lick things or something. I don't know where that came from. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's because people like to eat bull tongue, or maybe bulls like to lick things. I don't know. It was something stupid like bull liquor. Wait, it was toilet bull liquor. Hi, my name is Patrick Fifelski, and today we're talking about how to make homemade garlic bread on a budget. Now, when I say budget, I mean your unemployed and poor budget. So let's take a look what we got here. We have some very, very stale bread, believe me. Now, while this bread is very dry and stiff, it's not moldy, so we're just going to pop it in our handy-dandy toaster here for about 2.5 minutes. Of course, like all recipes, you need to have the ingredients first. You're going to want to have stocked up on these handy-dandy little buttery garlic packets from Little Caesars. Now for the most complicated part. Let's take the toast, dip it in here. I should write a book. Tomorrow's June 3rd, and I decided I was going to start celebrating a little early because I work tomorrow and there's some stuff I want to get done, so here I am smoking a cigar. I stopped by a gas station on the way here to pick up some soda to drink with it, and I'm celebrating, so I saw an ice cream sandwich and I went to pick one up. And then I see in the other side of the ice cream compartment where this guy's standing, I see my favorite brand of ice cream sandwich, and I go for it. The guy looks me up and down and he just goes, "You're gonna get diabetes." Fuck you, mystery gas station man. Fuck you. Tonight's gonna be my last day at Walmart, and in celebration I wanted to tell you one of my least favorite stories from my time there. Just a couple weeks after I started, there was a night we were short-handed, and so they had me stand as the greeter at the door for about an hour so the girl doing that could take a break. Let me debunk a couple common misconceptions about what a greeter does. Our job is not to check your receipts. Our first job is just to be friendly. Hi, welcome to Walmart, thanks for shopping, etc., etc. And our second job is to make it look like we're checking your receipts. The idea being that somebody who sees an opportunity to steal something might not because they think they might get caught. But we are not under any circumstances allowed to stop somebody. Even if we have specific reason to think somebody might be stealing something, there's nothing we can do. We're never taught any sort of protocol for what to do if we think someone's stealing, because we can't do anything. All we can do is try to make eye contact with the people leaving, and if they make eye contact back, we pull out our highlighter and they usually approach us. If they don't, they go their way. They told me that anyone who purchases video games, I need to take an extra second to look at their receipt, just because we've had a lot of theft in video games, we're trying to discourage it. Within the first 10 or 15 minutes, there's somebody who bought a couple video games. So I look up from his receipt to just look at his bag, and he pulls it behind him, and he grabs the receipt out of my hand and walks away. And I'm a little concerned. I don't really know what's going on. But then I realized that when I look at things, I tend to scan with my finger. You know, like you're scanning along a shelf or something. I would have raised my hand a little bit, and he probably thought that I was trying to like search him, like go through his stuff, which we cannot do under any circumstances. And then I realized he was black. So I'm not trying to make any assumptions or anything, but like if I were like, I would have thought that I was being profiled. Like, Jesus, I feel like total shit. I don't think I really did anything wrong, but like ultimately I made somebody feel a little more marginalized, a little targeted, and that's not okay. About 20 minutes later, there's about, 3 or 4 like elderly women in a row, and the first couple just walk right past, but the last one makes eye contact. I pull out my Sharpie, she approaches me. She's rolling her eyes, so I'm trying to just get through it. I'm not trying to bother anybody, but then she says, I think it's kind of weird you're stopping me, because you didn't stop the women in front of me, and they're white, and this woman is black, and this is just not going well. I don't even look at her receipt. I hand it right back and I say, I am so sorry for the mix-up. I'm not trying to stop anybody. They walked right past me, and you can too. You don't have to stop for us. She says, whatever, well, I'm already here, so you might as well check it off. And I do, and she goes about her day, and I tried. Like, I don't know what else to do in that situation. And now I feel so much worse, because not only have I contributed to 2 people feeling unwelcome in their own society, but I'm starting to wonder, am I okay? Am I profiling these people? Please understand that between these 2 events and for the rest of the hour, people of all races and genders and whatnot, they all went through without a hitch. There were no other problems. That is, until the end of the hour, when 2 people are coming through. The first one just ignores me, walks right past, and the second one I make eye contact, he approaches. He's actually kind of like laughing a little bit. He thinks this is dumb and kind of funny, and you gotta understand that this man is white and the man who walked past me was black. This guy just kind of scoffs at me and he says, you're stopping me, but you didn't stop that n***. I was so uncomfortable I wanted to fucking kill myself. Marked off his receipt and I was like, thanks for shopping, have a nice day, there's the exit, motherfucker. Now, I understand that this is small beans. People are abused and assaulted and murdered across the world for their race, and, don't think that I'm insensitive to the larger plight. If there are any 2 things that make me extremely uncomfortable, it's debt and racism. I have got to stop running into crazy motherfuckers on the bus. Here's a story for you. There's this guy, we'll call him Pete. He's hanging out with some friends. They went out to a cabin in the middle of nowhere to see the eclipse. They're having a good time, they're getting a little drunk, and they're just chilling, and they're right out on the, this porch, what do you call it, like a deck on a house. And all of a sudden, one of Pete's friend's eyes just glaze over, and he falls backwards and hits his head on the wood railing. At first, they're kind of laughing, they think it's kind of funny, and then they notice that there's blood fucking everywhere. They go to mend this, dude up, they're trying to figure out what's going on, and they realize that most of his head, his skin, his scalp, gone. He's fucking scalped himself. It fell off. They run and get the first aid kit, and they're using, that clotting powder, but they don't have enough for the entire, surface area. The guy's out for 2.5 minutes. Eventually, he wakes up, and then he won't let them call an ambulance because apparently it's his parents' cabin, and they didn't know they were staying there. Problem is, this guy is so fucked up, he keeps reliving the same 10-minute loop. They keep having the same conversation with him for almost 4 hours. They had to keep reminding him that he hit his head because he couldn't remember, and they had to have him write himself a note on a piece of paper explaining the thing, but he wouldn't even believe that. They're still pretty drunk, so they don't really know what to do. They want to grab the neighbors, but they are so unhelpful. They're super accusatory and shit. They're like, how could you do this to your friend and not help? Pete and his buddies are like, we're too drunk to drive, and we can't call an ambulance. Are you going to take him to the fucking hospital? So eventually they do. They all load up in the neighbor's minivan, and they try to drive him up there. They get to the hospital, and Pete watches as the doctors take this big old bristly thing, and they scrub out the inside of Pete's head, or his friend's head. They're scrubbing away. The doctors are trying to stitch him up, so they get the staple gun, they go right at it, bam, 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 but they run out of staples and have to reload. Bam, bam, bam. I swear to God, this is exactly how the dude explained it to me. I'm not even playing. I didn't believe a word of this. He sensed I was being a little doubtful, so he pulls out his phone, starts showing me photos of his friend's fucked up head. Oh. Anyway, eventually his friend gets stable, so he goes out to tell the neighbors, look, thanks so much for driving us, you know, maybe offer them a little bit for gas or something, but whatever. But they're like, no, you don't need to pay us anything. We're sorry about the whole situation. It's a tragedy. And we're sorry for being mean earlier. I mean, we were tripping on Molly the whole time. You drove an hour through the wilderness to the hospital and you were... Are you kidding me? So I was talking to one of my coworkers the other day. This guy's been married for a long time. He's got 4 kids. Now, there's a really strange age gap between these children. 2 of them are in their 30s, and 2 of them are fucking pre-teens. So I asked him about it, and he said that in his early 20s, he had 2 kids, decided that was enough, he went and got snipped. And after 20 years of making sweet love to his wife, she gets pregnant again, 20 years later. So as any rational adult would do in this situation, he goes to his wife and he's like, yo, what's up? And she's like, yeah, what's up? He says, I'm snipped. She says, I'm faithful. She says, you need to figure your shit out, and if you accuse me of cheating again, I will fucking leave you. So he goes to the doctor, and the doctor says, sure enough, yeah, you're snipped, but if it makes you feel better, we'll snip it a little more. So now the guy's basically double snipped. He goes home and makes sweet love to his wife. 1 year later, she's pregnant again. So this guy goes to the doctor and he's like, look, doc, you gotta help me out. I know she's cheating on me, but I need proof. I need you to give me every test you got to make sure I can't have kids. So they run some tests, and what do they find? This motherfucker has an auxiliary tube, a whole second tube for making babies. So they snip that too. This motherfucker is triple snipped. So he goes home. He makes sweet love to his wife. 1 year later, she's fucking pregnant! She gets an abortion. To this day, they do not talk about it. That's true love, man. That is true love.
Pat got a 4K Blu-ray at Target, but he bought it through the self-checkout, so it still has the safety feature on it. So let's see how he's dealing.
What? Oh! Son of a...
What was that?
This is it. This is fucking it! Fuck yeah. 4K Blu-ray! Are you ready for the unveiling? Oh my god. Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me?
Don't steal.